Pro players will never tell you this secret. 7 important pickleball strategies every player should know. In pickleball, momentum is a crucial factor in many games, especially when players are of equal skill and talent. But unfortunately, momentum goes both ways. If you commit small blunders, a game could slip through your fingers. And everyone has faced this situation at least once in their careers. The difference between average and exceptional players is in these strategies that employ to halt a losing streak and turn the tide in their favor. Today we'll discuss a few simple tweaks you can make in-game whenever you find yourself trailing in points that will help you change the tide, go back into the game, and possibly even come out on top. Now let's get right into the video. Number 1, stack with your partner. A tactic that involves reorganizing the positions of the players on the court is called stacking. For instance, let's imagine that I'm having trouble with my third shot drops or my backhand dinks and that I'm on the odd side or the left side of the court. In order to stack, I will shift to the right side of my partner's court when they serve in order to give them a better opportunity of taking the third shot. They move to the left side of the court after they have served, while I continue to play on the right side of the court. Because they take the forehand down the middle on third shots and often make backhand dinks, the person on this side will normally see more shots than the person on the opposite side. If your partner is having great success with third shots, try stacking to offer your partner more opportunities so you can at least go to the net. Stacking will let you to at least get to the net. Also, simply swapping places on the court can require your opponents to consider where they want to return the ball. This visual movement might be enough to throw off your opponent's concentration and cause them to make a mistake on the serve return. Even though it seems counterintuitive, making subtle alterations to one's appearance such as this can be effective. When you're on defense, you can use this concept to your advantage. Making use of hand signals, you switch sides when playing defense. Number 2, play high percentage shots in pickleball. Hitting the ball in high percentage regions of the court will help you come back into the game if you're down in points. To keep the ball in play, you should aim your shots at those areas of the court. It's riskier to go for the kill when your odds are poor. When attempting a third shot, for instance, aim for the center of the target. Since the net is 2 inches lower in the center than at the sides, if you hit the ball in the middle, your opponents will have to plan and coordinate who will hit the ball. This improves your odds of not only stalemating your opponent, but also controlling the tempo of the rally and ultimately winning the point. Now, before we move ahead to talk about more game-changing pickleball tips, please take a second to like this video, subscribe to our channel so that we can keep bringing more informative pickleball content to you. Your little contribution means a lot for us. Number 3, call your shots. A basic yet efficient strategy for avoiding misunderstanding on the court is to simply call your shots. It's unacceptable to let a point slip away because of confusion over who is hitting the ball. As soon as this occurs, have a conversation about it with your spouse and agree to make decisions publicly and promptly. A few shots you'll want to call are serve returns, shots in the kitchen, especially dinks to the middle, overhead or lobs. Number 4, clear the net. When making a mistake, it's preferable to smash the ball too high and over the net rather than too low and into it. To illustrate, if you're having trouble with your third shot, you shouldn't try to be flawless. Instead, you should focus on making sure the ball goes over the net. Keeping the ball in play increases your chances of a successful hit and decreases your opponent's. Shoot for the middle of the court on the backhand side to advance. To stay in the rally for a longer period of time, this will help. You should vault over the net whenever you're in a transition zone, but especially when you're trying to claw your way back from a point deficit. Make your opponent hit the ball even if it is a high third. Just keep the ball in play if you're having trouble getting good looks in the transition zone. You shouldn't stress over failing to achieve perfection. Still, it's preferable too. A better mistake is one that goes over the net rather than into it. If you're having success with your third strokes, for instance, keep trying to get the ball over the net. Doing so will at least force your opponent to strike the ball. Doing so raises the odds that your opponent will make a mistake. This is also easy to do, but it's rarely done. Whenever possible, vault well above the goal line. Compelling your opponent to hit the ball is a good start. Avoid putting undue pressure on yourself to make a perfect drop shot in the transition zone, if you're having trouble there. Number 5, attack from the green zone only. Keep your attacks above the waist if you're trying to claw your way back from a low point total. This is a simple method for minimizing danger and optimizing assault timing. The goal is to only make contact with balls on the green zone and to avoid contact with red zone balls at all costs. To go for a shot in the danger zone is to make a greater chance. Number 6, keep switching your shots. By switching up your shots and being unpredictable, you can throw off your opponent and earn points when you normally don't. For example, if you've been hitting normal serves and all of a sudden throw in a lob serve, well, this can throw your opponent off and force an error. Number 7, avoid your opponent's strengths. It may sound simple, but if you know your opponent and their strengths, well, choose to avoid those until you get back into the game. For example, if one of your opponents has a great forehand, hit the ball to their backhand. If your opponent likes the fastballs, choose to slow down the pace, reset the ball, and only attack when you have a clear winner. Bonus tip, isolate your opponent. You and your partner have determined that one of your opponents is substantially weaker than the other. You might choose to focus all of your shots on this individual. Tournaments are where you'll most often see this strategy employed, and while it's not always the best idea in casual play, it may be effective if used correctly. So final piece of advice: if you're losing a tournament game and your opponent is gaining momentum, call a timeout. This will not only slow them down, but also give you and your companion time to regroup and figure out how to get back in the game. Ask yourself and your partner, who should we pick on, before you even swing at the ball. Isolating the weaker player can be pleasant, but it's essential. Isolating the weaker player can be pleasant, but it's essential if you want to be a formidable adversary. Expert advice: while this tactic works well in games where winning depends on keeping the ball away from the stronger player, you should use caution when employing it in a more casual setting. Return of serve is often struck without much consideration. You leave yourself open to a powerful drive from the other team if the ball lands short, i.e. if the serving team advances to get your shot. For an easier time at the net, try to return to a position where your server is pinned behind the baseline. Despite the physical nature of a pickleball, many players wait in line like fashion. The sooner you realize you need to run, the better your chances of getting the ball back into play. Although not everyone can match the speed of the pros, everyone can share the desire to catch every ball. The third shot is one that's typically hit with a forehand, which is why it's so popular. If you're a right-handed server, you should position yourself towards the sideline, while serving from the left side and near the tee, we're serving from the right. If the serve is returned to you, you'll almost certainly get the forehand you wanted. One of the best ways to frustrate your opponents is to use your serve. A difficult serve increases the likelihood that the return is easier for you, whether you achieve this by serving deep, making the move, targeting for a weakness, or simply hitting the ball hard. Although there is inherent danger, I believe that you will ultimately discover that the payoff is well worth the effort required to master this skill. So what do you think about these pickleball strategies? Tell us in the comments. Also, don't forget to like this video and share with your fellow picklers. Also, if you love pickleball, then make sure to watch this next video on our channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.